There is power behind every story we carry within. Every tragedy, no, yes, laugh, victory. And every testimony that is incubated within our souls have power. The power to transform, from tragedy to crown, from obstacle to opportunity. And all the moments in between make us wiser. Watch Candid Conversations with Charisa for impactful, unheard moments that will certainly spark your power and inner truth to shift, heal, and restore your life. It's time to get real, uncover, unlock, unpack, set free, and increase the dialogue to change a life. We all start somewhere and end in places of destiny. Get ready for the long-awaited Candid Conversations with Charisa.
Hey family, Candid Conversations with Charisa is back and we are about to be lit. The conversation is continuing. We are continuing to be raw, deep, real, and transparent and transformational. We are going to start off this season talking about love and marriage, dedicated to all of my married couples and those aspiring to be married. Then we're going to get into dating and sex for all my single couples. And then we are going to talk about forgiveness, because forgiveness is not about the other person. It is for you. We're going to talk about isolation. We're going to talk about the benefits of sometimes being alone. We're going to talk about putting you first and why that is so much more important for you to start influencing others. Then we're going to talk about how you are the creator of all of your creation, needing no permission to do what you want to do and can do. Then I am going to give you a sneak peek and follow up on me actually going home, where I was able to get the freedom that I need. So pull up a chair. Every Thursday we're going to be here on YouTube watching Candid Conversation with Charisa, a show that was created just for you. Melissa and Carlos, thank you so much for joining the conversation this season on Candid Conversations with Charisa. This is February and we are continuing the convo on love and marriage, especially now. I know you guys have been married for how long?
14 years.
But together a total of
almost 30.
30. Man, that's hope for me. I'm just... I'm a newlywed under 2 years, and so I'm so excited to be having this conversation, because I know that if I'm going to learn something, everyone else who's listening, they're going to learn something as well for themselves, whether they are married, whether they've been thinking about it. So tell me more. Tell me what the first 16 years look like, what the last 15 years has been like. I'm going to start with Carlos. I know.
What the first 15 years looked like? Looked like a lot of us trying to figure it out, really, was what it was like. We've known each other since childhood, so we've basically grown up together. And we got together after I had a year at school. We got together, and
I was coming out of high school, graduating from high school, and he was running me down.
Look at you, good catch.
That's what I like to say.
What's the real story? What's the truth, Carlos?
pretty much it.
Okay, you're just running her down.
I'm running her down. Yeah, gonna have my eye on her for a while. We had some children.
College, I went to college. He came with.
I basically followed her to college. Got a job, got an apartment over there. We
were playing house, as they say. We lived together. I mean, we didn't take the typical, get married.
Not the traditional route at all.
The sanctified route. We didn't take that route. But, thank God for grace. And we basically learned each other. We lived. We were thugging it out. Like, if you can imagine trying to figure out who you are.
Right. Wow.
While trying to figure out who you are as a couple.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise the route that we went to anybody. No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't advise the route of playing house, children, all of that, and then getting married.
Definitely wouldn't advise that. I don't begrudge or regret anything because, everything that happened then made me who I am and who we are now. So, I appreciate all of that, but I wouldn't advise it. That wouldn't be, okay, go shack up and go do that. No, I definitely wouldn't advise that. We were also very young, which also speaks back to finding out who you were. And I wouldn't advise getting with another person until you are a complete person either. You hear a lot of that, you complete me stuff. That's not realistic. And like your husband mentioned earlier in the conversation, that'll be a job I'll be taking on forever.
Yeah, side conversation.
You did.
Sidebar in the green room.
But he made a great point, though. That'll be a job you'll be undertaking forever. Me trying to complete you. If you don't know, how am I to?
Like my dad always says, singleness is being single, but also being whole.
Yes.
We're not 50-50, my better half.
Yes.
It's actually my better whole.
Yes. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. So we finally, to be honest, we had kind of been living, we had 3 children. He had a child before that, so we have a total of 4 children. I think 29, 21, 20, and now 15. We got married with the last one was the baby in the arms, and it was kind of just finally like, he looked at me one day like, we were married?
I was about to ask, after 16 years of pretty much being common law, I think is what they call it, why even bother? Why do you think, let's go ahead and do married? Because at that point, is it now just a paper thing, or was it you had grown to that mature place where it's okay, we should set this up right?
I think there was both. I think for me, I had come to a place spiritually that I felt like it was absolutely necessary. I wanted God to bless us, and in order to do that, it was like we had to align with what it is we believed. And in the Bible, the covenant was marriage, and that's what we had ascribed to. So we wanted to do that and to be able to be blessed as a unit. And growing children up, we always talk about rearing our children, and the fact is they don't do what you say, they do what they see. Yeah. So I wanted to kind of get that in alignment and go forward, and it was fine. So we did that. We got married, and we kept pressing forward, and life just continues to happen. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Marriage is a partnership between 2 people, and you never know. I actually was stricken with sickness, and I was sick.
Well, I was going to mention, she was basically at her worst. And for me, that was the time that I wanted to show that I was always going to be there.
I was sick unto death, literally.
I think it's good to pause there, because I like when I can hear that from a man. Because usually that's the time when either he's going to do that or he's going to look at it.
He's going to run tail hot.
And knowing and hearing, now was that your entire thought the entire time?
Really?
And you had to stick with her? That's commendable. That's commendable. Was it easy?
No. No, it's not. But I wanted to let her know that I was signing up for the long haul.
Now, was this the worst before the better? Now, is this the better or worse than
Definitely.
Worse, better.
Yeah.
To me, it does
that flow.
Yes, but that was definitely the worst time for her physically. It was a strain on our relationship. It was kind of, we were at our lowest point. And to me, that was the time to rally the troops.
So this is a perfect time, because I've asked the community to send some questions in, some real questions. And so one of their questions is to piggyback off of your point, Carlos. So how did you guys how do you suggest, recommend, advise dealing with conflict? And you can only give me that advice. I don't want the book. I don't want with some premarital conflict. I want to know, how have you guys dealt with? And I know conflicts are different, because you have conflicts on one side of the spectrum and then on this end. How have you dealt with conflict?
I think the first thing is just everybody needs a little space. I think if you are in the midst of conflict, that's not the time to, bear down, and because I that's my issue. I want things to be fixed. I have that, type of spirit in me. And I want things to be fixed. I want things to be well. So I want to, right now, right this second. And sometimes it's not the time. Sometimes you got to give people space. You got to just take a breath, Let's not be angry. Let's not be, saying things that we're going to regret later. Let's not, to me, the first thing is just hit pause right quick. And when he, gets to a place and he wants, say if he gets riled up or something about an issue, it's up to me to know, okay, I can't go past this. This is the point where I need to be like, okay, we'll table, stick a pin and we'll come back around to this. So that's the first thing. And then definitely come back around to it. Like, not cover it up, not just sweep it on the road, not act like it didn't happen, but let's get to it, unpack it, and then make strategic steps going forward.
Now, you are not alone in that, but you and I are also the same. Mm-hmm. So, Carlos, how do you deal with that? So how do you deal with, okay, we're going to put it on pause. We're going to not talk while we're angry. I'm going to give you your space. But do you, as a man, come back around to it? Or is she the one to always initiate the coming back around to it? And why is that? Is it because you have forgotten? Is it because you're looking for the first train to never have to go into that argument again?
It could be all of those things. It could be forgotten.
Because that's my struggle, right? One of my struggles is we will have an issue. We will put it on pause, my husband and I, no problem. Let's talk about it later. I still waiting on a few ladies. As of right here.
Right.
Lady ain't never come. And
that's because that's your personality, but he's probably a lot like me. If it's not a major issue, if we've just had a conflict over something, sometimes I'm backed off of it.
But major for who then? Because what may be
just
minor
for the group,
to you.
For the union. And that's true. Definitely. It's all about perspective for sure.
It is.
Absolutely. But I mean something that's detrimental to our relationship. That's obviously detrimental. Now that does,
but also
right, now that doesn't account for that. That's not negating or you know how to put it. It's not overriding your feelings, because just like you said, something that I might not think is detrimental, but it might be to you.
Detrimental to me, about
definitely.
Sign some papers.
So then yes, let's deal with that head on. But I can see how it could be lost.
And he was like, eh. And so there are parts of me that sometimes I'm gonna wait and see if he's gonna bring it up.
No.
Let me wait and see.
No, don't do that.
waiting and see.
No. Don't do that. If it's important to you, then you have to bring it up, and you can't take score or kind of be like, well, I'm gonna wait to see if he does. Well, no, because he may not ever, because it's not his issue. It's my issue. Or it's something that I feel is important. So I need to take responsibility for that. And it's not about who's right, who's wrong, who did this, who do that, or who always does, or who always is the one who makes up. People are who they are. I'm the talkative one. I'm always running my mouth. He talking about study to be quiet, But that's me. And so I can't expect him to be like, oh, I'm coming forth with all of this and blah, 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 blah. It's just not who he is. Even if it's bothering him. For him, like you said, time may heal. Now, for me, I always want to talk about everything. From the toilet seat to the bill, that's me. And sometimes I've had to learn, this is not really that big of an issue. I may have my feelings hurt, but if I, take a step back and really look at the whole of it all, how big a part is this really? And not just my personal feelings.
That takes such a grown, mature person to say. When you look at the bigger picture, is this one thing really gonna shatter it?
Because we've been through all the small fights and the little things and
the big ones too.
Right, all that. So we've learned what's really big, what we can get past, what we can't get past, what can wait, what can't wait, what needs to be tabled, what needs to be addressed right now. It just comes with experience. There's no formula, there's no book you're going to read for it. I mean, there are some, but life won't go that way.
I love that he said that. There's no formula, there's no book you're going to read. Because I feel like before we were getting married, we were given a list of books to read. we went to marriage counseling and spoke to pastor after pastor on this particular area and finances and family planning and conflict resolution and communication. I mean, we did it all.
Bless. We didn't do none of that.
And hold on. But after all of that, Melissa, I feel the same way.
Still.
I feel like I do nothing. And so even the theme that I'm running through this series right now is what they didn't tell me. Here's what they didn't tell me. Because there's a whole lot of things they didn't tell me.
One of the biggest things that I feel like I was not told was that I am not the same person. And I've heard people say you don't change. We've been together 30 years. I am not the same person I was in the 90s. I'm not the same person I was in the 2000s. I'm not the same person I was 3 months ago. Quite frankly, we live and grow and things change. Our perspectives change. You should evolve. You should think a little bit differently about the world you see as you experience and learn from every person you encounter. So yeah, I'm not the same person. What I thought was cool in the 90s, it ain't cool today. What he thought was cool yesterday, it may not be cool tomorrow. So we got to give each other grace for that and keep getting to know each other again, decade to decade, situation. I just lost my dad a few months ago. Like, I'm not the same person I was before that. And here he is still like, I'm going to love her through this. So what's the goal? Is the goal to be happy? I mean, yeah, but like he said, I'm committed. And so am I.
Even when I'm not happy.
Even when I'm not happy, because that's conditional. We have the joy of the Lord. We can put every cliche you want to put on it. But the fact is, life is going to happen. And when the rug gets swept out from underneath you, what are you really holding on to? And I'm holding on to my faith, and I'm holding on to him. He ain't never left me. He ain't never left my side. I was 50 pounds heavier. I looked a mess. My hair fell out. There's been times when he struggled with different issues, and still, he said, "This is what we're doing."
And I like that. So I hear what you're not saying.
Okay.
So that means there was conflict.
Yes.
How did you get to the place of not more than just dealing with the conflict, but even deciding that we're going to put in the work to get over the conflict? Because my husband and I had a conversation the other day about work and the pressures that the work alone brings. Now, you're already talking about what's already there, the hurt, the pain, the challenges that are there because of the action.
Right.
Now you're saying, okay, we're going to put into work to try and reverse what has happened. But then work alone comes with its own challenges and pressure. So how did you even say, okay, we're going to put in the work, and then realizing that work may take a long time?
A lifetime.
Some people ain't in it for the lifetime, but they ain't ready for that lifetime part of putting in the work. Right. And I think that's the fine line. If you're not ready to put in the work for a lifetime, then signing paper is very easy.
Yeah.
That ends the lifetime.
It's an easy
that
way out.
shortens the lifetime. But if you realize that I don't want to sign a paper, I'd rather put in the work and then deal with it for a lifetime, then even though it says a lifetime, it doesn't have to feel that way. And I'm so happy looking at 30 years before me. Like when I say there's hope for me, there's hope. There's hope for me, there's hope for those that aren't married. There's hope for those that are just getting married, especially when you're getting married in this season of society where there's a pandemic, there is political unrest, there is the lockdown, there is now, which is causing a strain on marriages, on parenting alone, on the financial system alone. I mean, can I add any other challenges? Like, we don't need nothing else. Yeah. And then you want to tell me get married now? So my husband and I did it. We got married now. Yeah. And I thank God for the parents I had, okay? I thank him for the information that I got. I'm not against the premarital counseling and information I got. Please hear me. I guess there's a part of me that knows that no one could have gone through it. Like there's some things I would not have known until I jumped. There's some things I would not have learned until I said, yes, let's do this. And then I turned the key. No. Then I opened the door. No. And then I closed the door behind me. And now I'm here.
Right.
Like I would not have known. And, before a certain part of even this year and a half, you could, like, I knew we went through some challenges. And I could tell you what the process of annulment and divorce is in Chicago. I could tell you. I did some research because I'm like, oh, this is not where it's at. No way. What? They ain't telling me this. And if we're being honest.
They don't tell you about the work.
They don't.
That's really the piece that they leave out is the work.
They don't tell you. Now they say it's going to take work, and they leave it there. Period.
It's like a caveat.
Period.
Right.
That's it.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be work.
There's going to be some work in there.
But then they don't tell you more. And so now here we are, grown. Like first 6 months, I was someone. These last 6 to 8 months, oh man, totally different person. And so even that totally different person have a totally different mindset. So I'm now not looking at my spouse and my marriage as, okay, I need to get out of this. No, I'm looking at what do I need to do to make this work? Because this can be good.
Oh man.
Oh, there are times when we have a blast. There are seasons and moments when there's just nothing. It's just we are harmonizing for a long time, and I love it. And then it'll take that one just demonic just
one more
wind,
thing.
and it just boom. And it's like, man, how do I get back to that harmony?
I think it's a choice.
It's a choice
to
love that person every day.
Yeah, it's a choice. Just like you choose to be happy, you choose. Like we can decide every day. We get to decide. So that's what we did. That was what we just decided. Like we ain't going nowhere. He looked at me like, "You think we getting a divorce?" No, we ain't. Like he looked like you ain't like no. That we're not doing that. And then there's been times when I'm like, "No, you ain't getting no divorce." Like you just have to be committed to the process of ever learning and ever growing and just giving people grace. It's got to be about that and loving through, because we get on each other's nerves all the time, and guess what? That 6 months, all that loving, we get our love on. We professionals at this point. But, like, it's just different. It's just different going through the stages of life and aging and just, it's a beautiful thing. I got my best friend.
And I'm actually glad you talked about loving. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can call it what it is.
Okay,
talk about sex.
Yeah.
Because, this ain't a religious platform.
Okay.
They being nosy on our conversation.
Okay, bet.
So we can talk about it. So, and I want to stick on conflict because sometimes conflict can get in the way of sex, which is something that should actually bring you closer.
Yes.
And I've heard it differently. So some people will have what they call makeup sex. Mm-hmm. And then there is this, during conflict, there's no sex because it's an emotional thing.
Right.
How have you guys used sex to work through that? How does it work against you? And then also, you're 30 years in.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a ebb and flow to the flow of sex within the relationship or the marriage?
Okay, so I think sex has been used as a way to make up. It's been a weapon. It's been, like any way you can use it, we've done it.
Bargaining chip,
leverage, all of that. Like especially
punishment.
I would choke. No. But I'm like literally like, oh no, okay, cut that part. No, I'll tell you a secret. But anyway, every way, every facet we have used it. And even growing older, like your body's changed. Like I had 3 babies and I'm in the gym now, but like I said, there was a time when I was 50 pounds heavier. Just all of that affects your life. Stress of work, it's been times, we even had a conversation last night because I was listening to somebody talking and I was like, what do you think about, somebody said on TV, they take turns initiating sex. Like this, and they keep track. Like, mm-hmm. I do it this time, you do it this time. And he like, Like, that's some bull. Like, well, I was like, will it take the pressure off? And he's like, what pressure? And I was like, well, I'm like, do you ever want it and, you not get it? Or he like, I'm going to get it if I want it. And so, I mean, I just think just open communication, being honest.
That's the key to it all.
It really, being honest. Like, about everything. Like, I don't like you this week. Or,
There's gonna be those times.
It is.
Like, in a normal friendship or relationship, it's like your husband also said earlier, we were talking.
I like the green room.
But him being used to being by himself for all those years, and then you come in, and now that's shaken up and really pretty much over with. You guys you're here forever now. Mm-hmm. So that part of his life is done. So he has to accept that now. I can have my alone time, but now I'm on a team.
Right.
I've signed up to play, and I don't get to check out. I'm here as long as the game's being played. I'm here. So I got to get used to my teammates. I don't get to leave.
Right.
I don't get to go home. See her another week now. Every day I wake up. She's right there.
No, literally though. Yeah. And that's cool though.
So you got to wrap your mind around that, and know what you're signing up for, and sign up for it. And if you have any doubts, then don't. This is not something that you want to experiment with or play with. If you have any doubts, don't.
And it's like, I used to hear that analogy about the cracker. Like, you're going to eat Ritz crackers for the rest of your life. If that's all, you get to eat the same Ritz cracker forever. And you know what? You better get you some cheese whiz, some peanut butter, put an apple on it, milk. However you need to do it. Whatever you need to do. I mean,
still gonna be that Ritz cracker.
Right.
And how's it been for you? Because I got her take on this. I love her, the man side, because men are silenced. Not that you all are quiet, We exactly. Oh, you say it, honey. You say it.
Well, what specifically?
So we're talking about sex, and what the ebb and flow of sex has been in the marriage. And I'm asking you specifically because you've been married for so long. And so you were married when you were younger, you're into your older age now. Then what does it look like in the space of conflict?
Well, she pretty much hits on the head. It's been all of those things. Like he said, a weapon. We've come together. We've been leveraged. It's been everything. But it's ebb and flow is a good way to put it, because it definitely is that. Obviously when you're young and feisty, the sex is that. When you get to an age, the sex is
slows down.
Yes, definitely. But it doesn't have to be. It's not like old people. Right. Don't think when you hit 50 that life is over with. It's definitely not that. But it's just it becomes less of a priority a lot of times, because it's something you've been doing for 30 years. You still have those natural urges and desires as a human being has, but it definitely becomes a little less of a priority, and a lot of that is due to what else you got going on. You got a thousand other things going on. The way our life and careers is, sometimes I don't even get home till 8 o'clock. By 10 o'clock, I'm ready for bed. Sex is the last thing on my mind. Now, she might have been at home thinking about it all day. So
now, that could be a conflict.
It could be.
How do you guys deal with that?
Well, if sometimes she'd be like, okay, baby, I understand. But other times, the boy got to put his boot on and man up. Get the job done.
And sometimes I get to be a cowgirl.
You understand?
You just got to handle your business.
No, we're going to be all right tomorrow. Either way, any way it works out, we're going to be all right, and we're going to be here tomorrow.
And I think it's important for people to hear that, because I think there is this false perception when they do it the wrong way first. and they're dating and they date for a long time, sex is involved, and then they're also younger. And then they get married. Now they see the same person over and over again. Now you're committed. So if you were out there with multiple, now you're not. Like, it's good for people to understand that this is commitment, first of all. And then sex is something, it's not always going to be what you think it is when you were 19, 25, even 30. When you get older, and then when you've been with someone for so long, that changes. There's work. And since we're being so candid and transparent, it was something that I also had to work through. I'm still working through, I'm now married, and I'm younger than my husband by years. So, I'm in my prime. I'm at home thinking about it every day. When he come home, he tired, is laughing on his mind. And I'm like,
Exactly. I mean, it just depends on what you believe. Sometimes,
what I had to learn.
Sometimes you got to encourage yourself.
Read between those lines.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, I did you say.
What is the show called again? Candid Conversations? Let's change this.
I'm just saying, like, take it for what you want.
Absolutely.
But we got to give each other that same grace. I'm telling you, it just keeps coming back around to that.
And I'm learning to not personalize it.
Absolutely.
Because I personalize it.
And that's a lot of it. And that's
hard.
Not just the sex, but a lot of what goes on in the relationship. It's definitely
me.
Definitely.
What did I do?
And learn not to personalize it. And it just could be, I just had a bad day and something you said may have just hit me the wrong way, and I may have snapped, and then all of a sudden it's a thing. When it really wasn't even you. You just happened to be the first thing that, the first sounding board that I had. So, and that could be a lot of times. So it's definitely important for you to not personalize things, not see it as an attack on you, and allow me the space to come back and be like, baby, I'm sorry.
He's good about that.
As opposed to just blowing up, escalating over what? We forgot what we're fighting about at this point.
Man, I got the wisdom over here. I look forward to hearing more from the men. People are going to hear from just the men very, very, very
come
soon.
on, we here. Like, we enough to know.
No. But I want to thank you guys so much for joining the conversation. It was a great, great conversation.
Thank
you. If you had to, especially in this season of the world and space that we're in, and your knowledge and experience of being married for as long as you have, if you had to advise and encourage a couple, any couple right now, what would it be? What would you say?
Don't rush it. Be a complete person before you get with another person. Definitely do that. Don't look for a person to complete you. Understand what you're signing up for. If you're not ready to commit forever, don't do it. Some people do it just to try it.
Well, I would say this too. First, know thyself, like you talked about, and go ahead, do the work of yourself. Like, we are childhood trauma, parental trauma, what you've been through in your lifetime. Like, it's going to come up. It will come up, and it can ruin, tank, everything that you're trying to build. People need to get the work done with themselves first. Most of us, almost every single person, I would say, has had something that's happened in their past. Like, you gotta unpack that bag. You gotta unpack that, or you're gonna deal with it one way or another. You're gonna deal with it. You don't wanna get to the counter at the airport and now you can't go because of the bag. You wanna unpack it. You wanna do that before.
At least make it lighter. Yeah. At least make it up to 50 pounds.
Yes.
Where they at least allow
so you can get on the plane.
At least. We can work with the rest of them. Well, thank you both, Melissa and Carlos, so much. I know that people are going to have... You've definitely helped me. You've definitely helped me. So your wisdom is amazing. Love and Carlos, I look to seeing you and the other men soon.
Thank you.